Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar from AWeber with special guests from Ruby, Stephanie Jones. Today, we'll be talking a little bit about how you can use inbound calling to grow your business. But before we get into that, I would love to introduce today's guest speaker. Stephanie has extensive experience in helping small business communities as well as small businesses meet their revenue goals and attain growth, specifically within this space of inbound calling. So we have a lot of great information for you guys today, and some wonderful nuggets for you guys to implement in your own businesses. Just a few housekeeping items before we get started today. We are pre-recording this webinar, so if you do have questions, that's completely fine. Just drop them into the chat. We are going to be hanging out answering those questions as the webinar progresses. Second piece is, if you miss anything, it's okay. Like I said, we're recording this. We're going to actually send out the slides in addition to the actual content of the video, the actual video, to everyone. So just hang out, listen, ask questions, and we hope you enjoy. With that, I will hand it off to Stephanie.
Thank you so much for having me, Christy. This is our second year partaking in AWeber's Marketing Week. Last year, it was such an amazing experience. The second that you all presented us with this opportunity, I knew we had to jump on it. So thank you again. Really appreciate it. And just as you mentioned, we are going to be talking about how small business owners can be successful with inbound calling. Now, I am Stephanie Jones. Like Christy mentioned, I have been working with small business owners for going on 6 years now, helping them to understand how imperative customer excellence, customer experience is in generating revenue and helping small business owners grow. One of my favorite things about working with Ruby is gaining a better understanding of exactly how impactful inbound calls can be to small business owners. A few facts that I was even shocked to learn about through my marketing team starts with 9 out of 10 calls to a business are opportunities for that business to grow. Now, we are going to go further in depth into what this exactly means. Are every single one of these calls, on 9 out of 10 calls, like brand new sales opportunities for the business? Or is it also opportunities to connect with existing customers? And how does that exactly translate to revenue? Most callers expect to reach a real person in 5 minutes or less, and that's regardless of whenever they reach out to a business. And I think all of us, as we begin to adjust to the reality of this very digital world we live in, having that opportunity to get answers whenever you need them, it's becoming an expanded expectation, not just whenever people are Googling a question, but whenever they're calling a business. And 80% of companies believe that they provide excellent customer service, but only 8% of their customers agree with that. Where exactly is that disconnect happening? Well, I'm glad you asked, because that's what we're going to dig in today. We're going to explore how you can grow your business and build customer loyalty by providing better phone experiences. We're going to learn how inbound calls impact your revenue, what you're missing by not answering the phone, and how to make sure every caller reaches a real person, so you're not going to miss out on that opportunity without necessarily having to work more hours on your own. So if you're ready, let's just dive in. When you're thinking about revenue, it doesn't start with a phone ringing. Your generating revenue is going to come from a multitude of actions leading up to a phone call. A lot of that hinging upon your marketing. So let's say you've got a great marketing strategy in play. You've invested in both traditional and digital advertising. Your number is up on billboards. You're in locally searched areas. There's a convenient call now button that sits on the top of your website. And now you sit back and you wait for those calls to come in. Now, of course, if you are missing any of the calls that come through due to these efforts, you're absolutely making a negative impact on your marketing return on investment. And that's something that very few businesses can afford to do in today's market, especially as a small business owner. So it's a certain type of example where you wouldn't keep your doors closed after airing a commercial and announcing that you're open for business. Don't do the same thing with your phone lines. If you've got some excellent marketing strategies that are leading people to call your business, You need to be there to answer that call. So now let's consider how many phone calls you might be receiving every week. Now, if your business is like many, it might be a few. If you've invested in demand generation with your digital marketing, it could be a few dozen. Now, for the sake of ease, the numbers that you see on the PowerPoint presentation right now, they're just average numbers. They're not going to reflect every small business owner's sales opportunity. So bear with me as we go through this. Towards the end of the presentation, I will have an equation that you can utilize to solve for your own business. But every missed phone call is a missed opportunity, an opportunity to make a sale, connect with a prospect, delight an existing customer. And each of those opportunities comes with both hidden and not so hidden costs attached to them. So let's start with this very simple equation. Let's say your average sale is $1,000 and you receive about 10 calls per day, and approximately 30% of those calls result in a sale. If you are able to answer and capture prospects 100% of the time, that means that 3 out of every 10 calls will lead to a sale for $3,000 per day in revenue. And if you manage to do this every business day for the year, there was 252 business days in 2020, you could stand to earn $750,000 in revenue through inbound phone calls alone. And every conversation has value. And that's not a cutesy statement either. Each professional conversation you have has an actual dollar amount attached to it. And bear in mind, this isn't taking into account every opportunity to generate revenue for the business. These are some very basic calculations that do not take into consideration customer satisfaction rates, your brand's perception appearing larger than what you really are because you are reachable at all hours of the day, and that competitive edge. If you are missing calls, the likelihood that they're going to reach out to your competitor increases, and no one likes to give free business to their competition. All of these factors can improve your business's overall performances in ways big and small today and very well into the future. And you may wonder how to go about improving customer service experiences while attracting more prospects. And as it turns out, we've already done the work and we've delved into our data from the past 2 years to help you learn more about your callers. So when can you expect calls to come through? According from data from millions of calls we've handled for our customers, businesses receive fewer calls outside of working hours. So that's 6 p.m. to 5 a.m. Pacific time, respectively. But these calls are increasing in frequency year over year, up from 3.2% in 2020 to 3.8% in 2021. The traditional work week is definitely here to stay for now, at the very least. And even as customer schedules become more flexible, they still prefer to reach out to your business during peak hours because they are confident that's when they're going to be able to reach someone. Now imagine your customers had the confidence and the peace of mind to realize it doesn't matter if they contact your business in those shoulder hours where it's just before the business opens or just after the business closes. They're going to be able to reach a live person. They can reach someone at 5 a.m. in the morning. Imagine providing that freedom and how that can impact what those peak call hours really look like for your business. And a growing number of calls are beginning to come just before business open, just after business closes, and on weekends. And if you're not answering those calls, those represent untapped opportunities for your business, especially if you're serving high-value customers. And depending on the situation, an investment in support beyond typical working days and hours could yield very significant returns for your business. Now, why do people call? Well, in general, people call businesses for many different reasons: to get in touch or find or communicate information, to engage in a transaction, resolve an issue, express an emotion, or a combination thereof. These reasons can be considered expected and often mutually beneficial aspects of your business's relationship with your callers. And the majority of these callers, they are seeking to contact a business for reasons with unexpected and non-mutually beneficial calls, like those from robocalls and solicitors, compromising only about 8% of overall call volume. Now, larger factors coupled with rising caller expectations make soft skills like active listening and de-escalation absolutely paramount in customer communication. Business owners should absolutely be considering honing these skills, or at the very least engaging with customer communication professionals who possess these skills. And at the same time, it's very important for your business to continually collect, analyze, and apply insights about your callers, because that's going to improve efficiency and the overall customer experience. The best way to help a caller who is hesitant is to learn to anticipate their needs. And this allows business owners to determine and understand the value of each call. So this will help you ultimately make more informed decisions. Use your time more effectively so you can step into your proactive leadership role rather than reactive problem solving when you aren't prepared for the types of calls that are going to come into your business, especially as you look to grow and scale. Now, who are your callers? The largest number of calls to businesses are coming from known contacts. And these are existing customers, your employees, vendors, partners you work with, and that's closely followed by unspecified calls. These are typically ones that end quickly with little information provided. It could be current customers or new prospects, for example. And when we look at the composite of this data, what we can see is that every conversation between a business and its callers is going to be valuable, because it allows, if you allow even one call to slip through the cracks, it could mean countless of dollars lost in opportunity costs, making it essential to dedicate the appropriate resources and human power to customer support. Ultimately, what we're saying here is that if it is a new lead calling your business, wonderful. If it is an existing customer calling your business, wonderful. They need to be able to anticipate a very consistent sort of support from your business so that they keep coming to you and returning to you. And we're going to go into the numbers of why this is important in the next couple of slides as well. So the phone is clearly a critical tool in lead generation. While other channels like your social media and display advertising will definitely play an important role, the fact is that a business line is an owned channel, which puts you in greater control of the customer's journey. So what happens when a customer can't access your business the way they want to and when they want to? Well, you're going to waste your marketing dollars. And that means that your customer acquisition cost will be impacted. You lose revenue from missed opportunities to speak with a current customer. And on top of that, you lose the potential of a future referral of business from that contact from a positive experience. And ultimately, past that, you're deprived of the revenue associated with the lifetime value, or the LTV, of that customer. And ultimately, this means your competitor wins business. And it's a really easy way for them to win business when you're just not answering the phone. That can damage your position in the market one customer at a time. And please do not get me wrong here. We are by no means saying that your phone needs to be number one and you can abandon technology or omni-channel customer experience strategies. Absolutely not the case. But we do want to make sure that your customer experience strategy is founded in the basics, that customer service is friendly, responsive, and above all, it is human. Without the right processes and expertise in place, converting leads over the phone is just not a guarantee for your business. Optimizing call experiences and ensuring that a service team is prepared to handle these types of interactions is going to be essential to capturing each opportunity. So let's look at what your current needs are. Are you on the market for a better reputation? Do you want more word of mouth referrals or customer service that is available at any time? Maybe you are looking for more consistent intake gathered from your leads. And again, don't get me wrong here. There are so many contributing factors to these needs, but there's one easy solution that can contribute to each one of them. And it's live call answering 24/7. So let's say you want a better brand reputation. The key to customer satisfaction is human connection. In fact, more than 67% of customers will hang up when they can't reach a live person. I did the same thing whenever I was trying to reach my bank last week. Until I could reach a live person, I was just not going to leave any messages. And many callers will immediately write off your company and again, dial your competitor if they're not able to reach you. And this is not just your new customers who don't know necessarily what to expect from your business, but also your existing customers. Everyone calling your business wants and deserves fast, responsive, and personalized human service. Now let's consider elevating your customer service reputation. Live call answering will drive not only customer service, but excellent word of mouth referral as well. In fact, 72% of customers will share positive customer experiences with others. For every caller who reaches a friendly, capable business representative, the number of new prospects contacting your company increases. And I think we are starting to notice a little bit of a trend here, like I mentioned. And how confident are you in your customer service that you're currently providing? Again, to reflect on that initial number, 80% of businesses think that they're providing excellent customer service, but only 8% of customers agree. So are you able to be there for your customers, for your callers at any hour of the day? There is no fuel for customer loyalty and business growth as powerful as live call answering, because roughly 4 out of 5 customers, that's 80% of customers, will become repeat buyers based on positive phone experiences. And wouldn't it be great if on top of those positive experiences, you knew everything about everyone who's calling your business, everything important, their name, contact information, reason for getting in touch. Now with IVR, voicemail, or other automated systems, you're never guaranteed to capture this information from every single caller. But a whopping 85% of people whose calls aren't answered live by a representative will not call back. And in contrast, a human agent, they can collect relevant information from callers and solve basic customer service issues and even harness a sales opportunity when the moment strikes. So now it's time to consider, based on the needs analysis, where am I at? Where am I at as a business owner hoping to grow and hoping to capture every call that comes through to my business? Am I at a point where I can hire another person to help me answer calls during business hours? Because I know I need help there. Maybe you are the one and only person answering calls. It's impossible for you to conduct business that way or try and grow your business that way. Are you ready to take on the additional taxes, the additional overhead, the additional benefits? Or maybe it's better to look at outsourcing. So let's explore when it's going to be a good idea to outsource. If you are missing 1 or more calls a day, you're missing out on important opportunities for your business. We've established that in those previous slides. And when opportunity knocks, you always want to answer that call. So when and how can you prepare? If you are thinking of outsourcing, consider the impact of what it will look like on your overhead expenses. It is very much so, if you're outsourcing a reception service, it is very much so a supplement for hiring in-house. And so you can supplement your resources by outsourcing. you can obviously hope to gain more business opportunities and increase your revenue because you're not going to be missing those ever so valuable calls. And that means you're maximizing your chances to connect with every prospect and customer, which is what you need. And live coverage after hours, on weekends, on holidays, how necessary is that for your business? In the coming slides, we're going to consider how you can look into your calls and get an idea of opportunities you might be missing. Something that I've noticed whenever I communicate with my customers or I go to events and I speak one-on-one with people is they know that their phone is ringing, but they have no idea how many calls they're necessarily missing. And they don't know how many even voicemails they might be getting that are potential leads. So we'll explore other ways to monitor that as well. And are you looking to increase your marketing return on investment? That should be an absolute yes, meaning you do not want to miss those calls. And it also gives you power and peace of mind. Not only your callers, like we mentioned before, knowing that they can reach your business at any hour of the day, but you as a business owner, if there's an emergency, do you have that coverage needed? For example, I just did a presentation last week with one of our customers who was right in the path of Hurricane Ian. Their office had to shut down for a week, and they forwarded all calls over to Ruby. And they had peace of mind. Ruby would answer their calls. We updated our scripting to the emergency scripting that they put in place for Hurricane Ian and expectations that we could set for their callers while they focused on the business and getting the business back up and running. So what is the value of that peace of mind? And ultimately, when you are looking at outsourcing, I want to set you up with tools of what you can keep an eye out for and come to expect when you are hiring a solution. That should generate more actionable leads, increase customer loyalty, and give you time back in your day. To ensure you choose the best partner, here are a few questions that you can ask, and I'll only read a few since they are all on the screen. Will 100% of your calls be answered live, 24/7, 365? Are the receptionists based in the United States? And what sort of training do they have? Are they supervised for customer quality? Does the solution have key features like live transferring, personalized greeting, customized call handling? Is there a really easy way for you to manage your account? You're a small business owner, and a solution like a live receptionist service should not add another item to your to-do list to manage. And now I'm going to let you all in on a secret that I've got. And when it comes to outsourcing and what you need to do in order to have the best call script out there, it's going to surprise you, I bet. When you think about any amazing customer experience you've had over the phone, it probably had a few components. It was quick, it was personable, and it was very efficient. At our own business, we have a key focus on arming our own receptionists with tone and phrasing to help during even the toughest of calls. When you simplify your script, you can expect a better caller experience because humans want to feel heard and that we want to feel understood by nature, even when it comes to making a quick phone call. And when things are scripted, they can come off sounding robotic and stiff. And when none of the words are their own, it doesn't give them much of an opportunity to create a connection with that caller. It also helps to increase accuracy when your script isn't lengthy. The longer the script, the higher the chance of inaccuracy. If a receptionist is just reading through lines and lines of wording, they can absolutely misread or even skip a line versus having the knowledge of whatever software is available to them, telling them what intake they need to gather and what information they need to read off to every single caller, just keeping it sweet and simple. And also having a more open script should empower receptionists. We want to provide them with the tools and the confidence to handle calls without lengthy scripts because it creates a very wonderful culture of empowerment. And if a true emergency call came in, would you prefer the receptionist try to reach you, even if it meant going outside of your standard instructions? Or would you rather the receptionist delve into what could be perceived as a very unhelpful script in response to an upset caller? When we allow our receptionist to think on their feet, it means they're able to do what's right for your caller and by extension, your business. Now, in a typical live virtual receptionist service arrangement, there are some things you should come to expect. So make sure whoever you hire is able to tick off these boxes. They're going to be able to greet your callers, dial your phone line, offer to connect you with the caller if you are available, or take a message and offer the caller the voicemail if you're not. And then after that, be able to send you some kind of notification, whether it's through email, a text message, or if they've got an app and notify you that you missed a call, this is their message, or this is their transcribed voicemail. The process is ultimately going to be up to you. It's going to be your call to make, no pun intended there. But we do want to empower you to make these decisions. So I included this slide for that purpose. Again, whenever I connect with people in person, they're not always sure of what their call volumes look like. So I figured before you get stuck in analysis paralysis of whether or not you need to outsource or do a solution in-house, I wanted to provide some options for you. How can you go about tracking your missed calls? What I've heard to be positive from my own customers that I interact with is start by evaluating your Google My Business call history. That's a relatively simple one to tick off. If you work with a web development team, you can ask them about tracking calls to your business. Or if you need to go back to the very basics, look at your machine and to see how many calls you missed or how many voicemails are being left. Again, this isn't completely accurate because how many times have you called a business, reached a voicemail, and then hung up without leaving information? So it might not be completely accurate and true to the source of how many leads am I missing out on, but it does give you an opportunity to just get an idea of how many you might be getting and if there really is room for you to see return on investment from outsourcing to a business to answer those calls after hours and on weekends. But let's say, for the sake of ease, you're missing an average of 2 potential new customer calls every weekend. If you multiply that by the value of a new revenue opportunity, that will give you an idea of lost revenue you might be experiencing on a weekly basis. Now, if we want to go deeper and further than that with looking at annual impacts, I did provide a quick little equation here that you can utilize. So you can consider your average sale, how many calls you receive during business hours, after business hours, over the weekends, and approximate how many of those calls will result in a sale. Utilize this formula and you can calculate your overall total lost revenue per year. Now, from this, establishing success metrics, many of you are probably already familiar with this, but if you do want to keep an eye on your return on investment, you can take your money gained, which if we are going to look at just the simple statistics of how many new customers you generated from utilizing this sort of service and the value of those customers, minus how much you're spending on that service, and then divide it by your money spent, multiply by 100, that's going to be your return on investment. Again, when we talked about this at the very start of the presentation, there are very actual costs associated with this that you can see revenue being generated because you are capturing leads you had missed in the past. But there's also benefits that aren't as easy to track with your brand perception, customer satisfaction rates, and business that is not going to your competition. So obviously, I want to provide you with a great option to start off with if you feel like you are at a stage where you are ready to start shopping. You want to know what your options are. Meet Ruby, who I work with. We are here to make your life easier. So all of the action items I mentioned earlier, that is where our business was founded. We were created for the small business community. We've been around for 19 years doing receptionist work. So you can trust that we have got a great handle on things. And it's not just over the phone. We also offer live virtual assistance on your website through our chat feature. And I'll quickly go through the ins and outs of our 2 services that we offer. But ultimately, as you are shopping, keep Ruby in mind because what differentiates us is that we are founded on the art of making real human connections. having that open scripting, that open dialogue, and really making connections with your callers. We get started with a friendly greeting and focus on thoughtful attention to detail in every single interaction. And the Rubies that we hire are people just like me. In fact, I was our very first chat specialist at the company. Now, don't get me wrong, I was not a 15-year-old working for the company as our very first chat specialist. Ruby acquired the chat side of our company back in 2019, but our receptionist team, we've had folks be with our receptionist team for over 10 years. So that's a lot of really great experience we're bringing to your business to ensure a warm, caring tone for all of your callers. Every customer is going to have a wonderful time engaging with our representatives. We're going to take detailed messages, conduct the customer intake so you have the details you need. We can answer FAQs for the business. One of my favorite features is we can place outbound calls. So imagine the freedom in your day. If you said, hey, Ruby, I've uploaded my contacts for the week. I need you to reach out to these people, confirm this call, gather additional information, anything other than a sales call, put that on Ruby's schedule, free up your plate so we can take care of that for you and you can focus on what you love to do most. And we can even help schedule appointments through services like Calendly, and we provide bilingual receptionist support in English and Spanish during your business hours. And from this, the experience that we have is going to show it through the phone with your callers. As a small business owner, providing that consistently, even at 5:30 in the morning, having that friendly tone there to welcome your callers, it's going to really represent your business how it deserves to be represented. We're going to go above and beyond to delight your customers. In fact, we call it wowism. We're full of these cutesy terms. It basically means that we take the time to get to know your callers and we will anticipate their needs and provide solutions before they ask. And that's why the majority of our customers say they get the best return on their investment because of our responsive service. We're flexible, affordable, and available when you need us, how you need us. No contracts, you tell us, Ruby, answer at this time, at this date, and we are there for you all through this handy dandy app, which I use myself as an employee here at Ruby. It is flexible mobile solution. You don't have to decide between responding to new opportunities or managing the work that you've got going on right now. We understand how you need to be able to manage your business no matter where you are. So through the app itself, you can host your business number and help you turn your cell phone into a work phone without sharing your personal information. You can set your status to where and when you want to take calls. You can control who you want to receive calls from during specific time frames. So like if you only want to receive calls from family during specific times, or only from your business associate, for example. You can forward and unforward calls from your office to your cell phone with the touch of a button. Build call handling schedules that match your availability. Set your caller ID as your business line to keep your cell private. Send text messages from your business phone while you're using your cell phone. Review your message details from your receptionist and so much more. It is just one of my favorite aspects of working with Ruby because it's just going to be the perfect companion and help you stay connected, capture leads, and provide exceptional customer service from any location. And then last but not least, one that's dear to my heart because it's where I got my start, our chat service. Now, we started this conversation with how to make inbound calls work for your business. How do you be successful for that? And it started with your marketing strategies. So tying this back to the very beginning, if you are doing marketing strategies like pay-per-click campaigns where people are coming to your website, let's say if they click that PPC campaign, they go to your website, think of your business, your website as your virtual business. Someone's seen an intriguing ad, they go to your website, and their options to connect with a real person are to call the business, which is great because you've got your number right there at the top of the screen, easy access, or to fill out a form and wait to hear from the business in an undisclosed amount of time. Now imagine if there was another option where they get to your website and pop, there's a live person saying, how can I help you today? Someone who's not quite ready to make that phone call, to click in, or to provide their personal information to you, they might like to have the opportunity to connect with a real person, ask some questions, and then provide their contact information to be turned into a lead for your business. So tying this all together, I just want to thank everyone for joining this discussion today. When you think about being successful with your inbound calls, take into consideration what your needs are, where you are at in terms of growing as a small business, and what type of business is going to be the best representative for you. That is what's important. Plug in those numbers and absolutely call Ruby if you have additional questions. Our number's right there on the screen, and I wanted to give a shout out. We are doing a special promo for anyone who's interested. You can receive $50 off per month for your first 3 months using the discount code PARTNER50. We'll put the link to our form in the discussion panel that's happening. And I wanted to make an additional note that as long as you mention that you are an AWeber customer, you will receive an additional 3% discount on all Ruby plans and services. If you have any questions, please put them in the live chat happening. I will be here to respond. And thank you so much for your time.